Scientists discovered 18,000 new species last year alone. That's not a typo. 18,000 species that were alive on this planet, sharing the air with us, completely unknown to science until now. And the strangest part? The rate of discovery is actually accelerating. We are living in what biologists are calling a golden age of species discovery, and the creatures being found right now will genuinely make you question how well we actually know this planet. Stick with me, because we're going to cover a shark that glows in the dark, a tree that bleeds blue, and a discovery so bizarre it rewrote the rules of what animals are even capable of. And that last one is the wildest thing I've covered on this channel. Let's go. Here's something that stops most people cold. We've sent rovers to Mars. We've mapped the surface of the moon in more detail than some parts of our own ocean floor. And yet, scientists currently estimate that somewhere between 80 and 90% of all species on Earth have never been described, never named, never studied. That means the planet we think we know so well is, biologically speaking, mostly a mystery. The Amazon basin alone is estimated to contain millions of undescribed species. A single expedition into a remote corner of Papua New Guinea in 2022 returned with over 40 species new to science, including spiders, frogs, and a bat with fur so vivid orange it looked like something out of a fantasy novel. And here's the thing that I want you to hold on to, because it's going to matter later in this video. Most of these discoveries aren't happening in the deepest, most inaccessible corners of the world. Some of them are happening in places you'd never expect. Now let me take you somewhere extraordinary. The Coral Triangle, a stretch of ocean spanning parts of Indonesia, the Philippines, and Papua New Guinea, is home to more marine species per square mile than anywhere else on Earth. And researchers diving there are still pulling up fish, crustaceans, and soft corals that have never been seen before. In 2023, a team of marine biologists cataloged a new species of scorpionfish so perfectly camouflaged against the reef that it had almost certainly been photographed dozens of times without anyone realizing they were looking at something new. That's how good nature is at hiding. But the ocean isn't the only place delivering jaw-dropping finds. In 2021, researchers in South Africa described a new species of shark, and this one has a trick that sounds like something out of a science fiction film. It glows. Not just faintly either. The kitefin shark, which reaches about 6 feet in length, produces its own blue-green bioluminescence across almost its entire body, making it the largest known luminous vertebrate on the planet. Scientists believe the glow may help it blend in from below against the faint light filtering down from the surface, a strategy called counter-illumination.
And here's your open-loop moment. Researchers aren't entirely sure why it glows across its full belly and flanks, because that's more coverage than counter-illumination would require. That question is still open. The answer, when it comes, is probably going to reveal something about predator-prey dynamics we haven't considered yet. Okay, here's a pattern interrupt because I want to give you the fun tangent before we get to the big finale. In 2020, a new species of tree was described in Madagascar. It's called Tahina spectabilis. It grows quietly for decades, up to 18 meters tall, then, seemingly out of nowhere, explodes into a massive flower, dumps all its energy into producing hundreds of fruit, and then dies. One massive final act of reproduction. The locals had known about it for generations. Scientists didn't. It was only formally described after a French family stumbled across one in flower and sent photos to Kew Gardens. Sometimes the most dramatic discoveries start with someone saying, "Hey, is this normal?" It is not. Back to the escalating arc. Because what I've described so far, new fish, new sharks, new trees, that's remarkable. But what researchers found in 2023 in the rainforests of Ecuador is in a different category entirely. A new species of frog, roughly the size of your thumbnail, was collected and taken back to the lab for analysis, standard procedure. But when researchers looked closer, they found something that genuinely shook the scientific community. This frog carries a natural toxin on its skin, not unusual for Amazonian frogs, but the molecular structure of this toxin was unlike any compound previously cataloged in nature. It wasn't a variation of a known toxin. It was architecturally unique, a brand new chemical scaffold. That matters enormously because novel chemical scaffolds in nature are the starting points for entirely new classes of medicine. Pain management, antibiotic resistance, cancer treatment, the pharmaceutical applications are potentially massive. This tiny, thumbnail-sized frog, living in a forest we almost logged out of existence, might hold the blueprint for drugs that don't exist yet. And that is why the accelerating pace of discovery isn't just an interesting footnote in biology journals, it's urgent. Here's the number that should genuinely unsettle you. The current rate of species extinction is estimated to be between 1,000 and 10,000 times higher than the natural background rate. We are discovering new species faster than ever before, partly because our tools are better. DNA barcoding and environmental sampling have completely transformed what's possible. But we are also losing species faster than ever before. Some researchers believe we are describing species in the same decade they go extinct. We are finding them and losing them almost simultaneously. The race isn't just academic, it's a countdown. So what does the future of discovery look like? The tools are extraordinary right now.
Environmental DNA, eDNA, allows scientists to take a water sample from a river and detect the genetic signatures of every species that has passed through it, including ones they've never seen. AI-assisted image recognition is flagging new species in museum collections that have sat unexamined for over a century. Citizen science platforms like iNaturalist have contributed to dozens of formal new species descriptions, because sometimes the person who finds something new is just someone walking in the woods with a smartphone. You could be that person. We are in a moment where the pace of biological discovery is outrunning our ability to name, study, and protect what we're finding. The world is more full of life than we ever imagined, and we are only just beginning to see it clearly. So here's the question I want to leave you with. If 80 to 90% of species on Earth are still unknown to science, what do you think is out there? And what do you think we stand to lose before we ever find it? Drop your answer below. I genuinely read every comment. And if this video made the planet feel a little bigger and a little more mysterious, hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss a wild fact, and check out our video on the deep ocean, because what's living down there makes everything we covered today look almost ordinary.